Alright, today do a picnic table build. This table is going to be a 6-foot table. There are numerous ways to build these things. I'm just going to show you what I do. I like to take 12-foot pieces and cut them in half. I mean, you could use 8s, but you'd have a lot left cut off blocks to do something with. So 12s work the best. The materials list is 6 12-foot 2x6s, 1 10-foot. That makes the runner for the seats. And you'll need probably 2 8-foot 2x4s to make the pieces underneath. I like to call it a 2x4 sandwich. And first thing I'm going to do, and I'll show you this over here on the other side, is make a place to secure the legs. And I like to clamp my tabletops together, and the reason being, when they dry out, you'll have a little bit of space in between the boards for the water to drain. So that's what I do, and I just secure them. You can see with screws. Once again, using my good old 3-inch screws. Okay, after I get the first side done, I'm gonna measure down to 70 inches. And this is where I'm gonna put my my cross piece for the I like to call it 2x4 sandwich to catch the legs. But I'm just gonna put the outside edge right here, right here on both sides. And I'm gonna put a chalk line to put my screws in. Okay, after I got my first piece on there, I lined up to my outside line, the outside edge. Put a screw in it, and I went back and snapped the chalk line across here for the center line to run my screws all the way across. And you notice, got my clamp on here to hold everything tight. Okay, I got my screws in to hold the first piece. Now, here's a little trick that I just learned over the years, to put a spacer in, and really you want to give yourself a little bit, not that much, but just a little bit of extra room, so you can get the legs in easily, not have to beat them in with a hammer. So there's a little trick. Alright, here's a look at the top after it's ready. All the cross piece 2x4s are on here. You see this end's kind of uneven. I'll cut that off with the skill saw after a while. But what I'm going to do now is go back and make the legs. And this is the pattern for the legs. The ends are on a 30-degree angle, and the overall length is 33 inches, and that's from long to long. So you see this little mark here? This is a brace block that I go back and put underneath the seat support. We'll talk about that after a while, but go ahead and make a pattern if you're going to make more than one table, because you'll never get them exactly the same height if you don't. So I've learned that the hard way. Okay, well, if you can see that line or not, but what I've done is made a line right here at 2 inches from the outside of the table, and I'm going to put the inside edge of the leg there, and I'll show you that. Okay, you can see how the table or leg is about 2 inches back, and I have secured that with 2 screws on each side, and that's in there. And now you just put all 4 legs on the same way. Alright, here's a look at it with the legs on. And what I'm going to do now is flip it over. You might want to get a little help with this. It can be done by yourself, but it's not the easiest thing. Alright, here's the first look at the table right side up. And I kind of just walked around and took my foot and pulled all the legs out, so they'd all be even. And that's about it. Now what we're going to do is put the runner in, which is going to be 5 feet long out of your 10-foot piece, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, this is the runner piece that holds the seats up, and this piece is 5 feet long. You need to make sure you got both of these the same length. And I cut this little angle on the end of them, just kind of dress them up. And I cut this before I put it on because it's a lot easier. So that's the piece I cut off, and just save that, and I just make all mine the same. And then you can throw it away. But that's the runner piece. The runner is going to go 17 inches from the top of the runner to the floor, and I'll mark that on my legs here in just a second, and I'll show you that. Okay, now you can see a little mark in there at 17 inches. I put another little mark right here, about 10.5 from the end. And after just building these over and over again, that's about where they line up every time. So it just kind of gives me a gauge. And what I'm going to do is go back here and just split the difference and measure in from the outside. So I'm right at 11 there. So I'm going to go measure the other side, and you're just splitting the difference. So that's all you got to do. Okay, after you get it evened up, I'd put one screw in it on each side, and take your clamps off, and you can go back and screw it in real good. I put 4 on the outside and 3 on the inside, and I do that just to keep everything tight in there. And go back and put the brace block underneath, which we'll look at in just a little bit. So you need to do that on both ends. Okay, this is the seat. There's a couple things going on here. You just get one at your outside board evened up from the end. So your distance from the end to the seat stretcher is what I'm talking about. And generally it's 25.5 to 6 inches. I slide mine off the edge the width of a 2x4, 1.5 inches, and that just gives me more room in here. So you got more leg room inside. I screw the outside one down and leave this one with just one screw in. I'm gonna go back and clip these corners off and then route the edge of it, and to get the router past there I gotta take it back off. So if you're not gonna do any of that, and all that's optional, you can just go ahead and screw it down. Okay, I've got both seats on, and they're ready to be trimmed and routed. But what I'm gonna do right now is put the center support on, and basically I just found the center of the table 3 feet, put my line down here, and I'm gonna put a hole in the center for an umbrella. So what I'm gonna do is make my center brace here just right at 12 inches or so. So that gives me plenty of room to hold right my hole in the center for umbrella. So it's gonna be right at 12 inches. Okay, there's both my center supports. And I put a 20-degree angle on the end of them, just kind of dress them up a little bit so don't catch your knees on there underneath the table. And I'm gonna put them on the center of the table. And the best way to do that is just hold it up here and drill it and run one screw in it, and it'll kind of hold it. Alright, now the center support is on. You can kind of see underneath there what it looks like. And that's what really gives my tables this like tight together look. It really holds them together in the middle. What I'm going to do next is trim the end. Right here you can kind of see the boards are uneven. I'm going to trim the seats, miter the corners, and route them. Pretty much all this stuff's optional, I guess, except trimming the end of it here. But you know, it just kind of dresses it up, so that's what I'm going to do. Now I'll give you a look at that. Okay, here's a look. The ends are trimmed. The hole in the middle. Cut this seat off so it was flush. Trimmed the end off so it's flush. So what I'm going to do now is route it. The edges, like I said, all this is optional. I mean, you don't have to do any of this if you don't want to. But it's just a, I think, maybe a 1/4 inch, I don't know, 3/8 round over bit. Puts a little cove in it. It's a cove bit's what it is, or what I would call it. Okay, here's a look. It's pretty much what it's gonna look like as it's finished. Now what I'm gonna do is flip it over and finish all the underneath part that really makes it strong. Put in the diagonal bracing and the blocks underneath the legs down here. Like I said, this is entirely, I mean, you could get by without doing those blocks probably, but I try to build as strong a table as I possibly can, so that's what I do. There's a look. There's a look at the brace block that I put right here under the leg, and I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, there the brace block is in position. I put 4 screws in it, and I came down here to my seat stretcher, I guess is what you call that, runner support. You see how they go together, and I put 3 more screws in it right there. Now, this is probably way more than you'll ever need for a picnic table. But this is one of the things that really separates mine from what you can buy in a store, which is usually a flimsy piece of junk. So, you do that on all 4 legs. Okay, this piece just goes in the center of the seat. I cut a 6-inch piece of scrap block, and I just screwed both seats together. And what this does is it keeps them from kind of wanting to warp or bow. It just makes them stronger, and you never really know what these things are gonna, you know, be into in their life. So people are pretty rough on them. So the stronger you can get them, the better you're gonna be. And I'm just gonna put another one over there. Okay, you need to rip a piece of 2x4 in half long enough to make this span out here. And the easiest thing to do after you do that is take your speed square, lay it up here, and mark the angle. And that's really not too hard to do. Alright, after you get both angles marked, you just cut those. You cut them on a miter saw or skill saw, either one, and screw them in there. And then you got your table is so much more stable. It gives it some horizontal stability. Okay, here's your finished table. Sanded the ends a little bit there in the umbrella hole. Probably wait about a month. Since it's middle of summer and 100 degrees, let it dry a little bit and put a coat of stain on it. But if you have questions or you'd like to buy one of these from me, be glad to hook you up. Just let me know in the comments. Appreciate it. If you hadn't subscribed to my channel, please do. I appreciate it. Thanks.